Hey there, Delta Kilo, part 2, resuming where we got cut off. Again, operating with limited tech. Unpreventably homeless. Homeless, not hopeless. Unpreventably homeless. Outdoor survival equipment. Things so that people who really do have nowhere to go at least have what they need to survive out in the elements, get out of the city centers where oftentimes there's just going to be realistically, there's only so many places that a person can go, and law enforcement is going to be around. The street is the police. Anyone who's endured any period of unavoidable homelessness, they know this. You end up in the city centers, and it's going to be virtually impossible to find somewhere to be comfortable. Well, like I say, one of the things that I hope I'll be able to sponsor through this overall concept that I am discussing and breaking down bits and bits is camping equipment. From here on out, the follow-through is the continuity. The process of refining my ideas and what works will likely show me how far I will personally go and be involved in this, as opposed to turning it over to an existing support service or agency or entity. Bottom line, a lot of people aren't going to want anything to do with the bureaucracy, city, county, state, federal, and I don't blame them. Perhaps that's where I'll be most unique. I myself have suffered the bureaucracy. It's always... You're in this state of desperation and neediness, and they want to sit down 30 minutes and have you fill out paperwork. And even then, you may receive very little, or there's a delay. Okay, well, I'm not just going to be giving away stuff, but I see a real opportunity in an organized manner based on a concept to get front line and help out and do these things that I'm talking about. I believe I can do it. In that, I'll be doing this myself, then getting help to do it, then leading it. Hopefully at some point I can turn it over. As I said in the introduction video, time will tell. I'll base my planning and decisions on what is needed and what reality calls for. Okay. Next point, transition, daily adjustment, basic assistance and how-to, basic support counseling, mental and emotional, life training and management, coping strategies. Next, housing. This is moving forward. This is weeks out, months out. Something that will probably be handled by other organizations and agency. But again, part of my reason in talking about it is I see myself in the things, as in speaking of politics and law, then incarceration and advocacy. In the advocacy part, in the transition from incarceration to in advocacy, I have a whole lot of ideas based on what I've seen and what I've endured about making various connections, and I'll be there either for all of it, if that's what it takes, or at least for various parts to make sure that there's the continuity. The continuity, no gaps, nobody gets lost. You can't let people get lost. Okay. Finding housing as applicable, support with references. Look, I used to have a great rental history. Now, having lost the apartment upon my arrest and having had my credit go from 800 down to 525, I can tell you the whole reference thing has a brand new meaning to me. Whereas once upon a time, I didn't think anything about this. All right, so people getting out of jail, for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time. The whole idea is one way or the other, sitting down after everything that I've already described and really working on a plan to get them references. Establishing utility services, providing volunteer labor for moving and or getting household goods. As I'm stating, my role is to make the connection, support the individual as applicable when appropriate. Training and employment, something that will be handled by other organizations and agencies. Again, my role is to make the connection, support the individual as applicable and when appropriate. Finally, ultimately, the goal, self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency, independence, dignity, and freedom. Self-sufficiency. Next, on advocacy, I have a progress report. Okay, this is talking about the reality at ground level. Some of it is, okay, I realized that I needed to start tracking this and then reporting it so that I can show that I'm actually doing something. But the amount of energy and effort and time that gets exhausted doing this, I don't mind doing it. It's just, wow, you learn. Maybe I come out all enthusiastic about this thing that I'm going to do. Having been through what I've been through, having seen all these failures and gaps. Now I know what's needed, and I'm going to make a difference. And I've immediately run into so many speed bumps, so many walls, mountains. Getting postcards for mailing. Found out the hard way that plain stamped postcards allowed by the Broward County Main Jail are in short supply, and the staffing of local USPS facilities appear to be disinterested and certainly hard to contact. I was supposed to be picking up a pack of 20, okay. Stories therein. February 18th, I called up every local USPS location. No one answered, and the facility that I had spoken with directly on Wednesday, February 16th, had an automated recording saying that they were closed. I followed up. I called the USPS hotline, United States Postal Service 800 number. Turns out the local offices were not closed, and that nationally everything was open. So why am I finding a recording from this place where I spoke to an employee who says they'll have postcards on Friday, and it's saying it's closed? All right, well, I made a complaint because I had to, but also if they're open, fine, I prayed on it. I prayed on a little bit of faith. I'm doing this. Got myself together, and I went to the North Aldridge facility at 400 Northwest 7th Avenue, Fort Lauderdale. Line wasn't too bad. I waited. I get to the counter. I speak to the nice young lady. She immediately, oh yeah, we don't have any plain postcards. I try explaining it, and she tries deflecting it and pushing it back at me, acting like there's something wrong with me for trying to get clarification and telling her that I spoke to somebody there. So she's hitting me with a combative, presumptuous attitude and evasiveness, and I had to square off with not just her, but the one working next to her as well. Thanks so much. I asked to speak with the manager and got a load of crap about that as well. Deflected again. Piss poor, lazy, smug customer service. Ultimately, I got nothing and no help and no postcards, so that I was not able to do anything for anybody when I was trying so hard to do something. I wanted to get something done. Get those postcards, start mailing out to people who I know who are doing time right now to let them know that I'm here and that I care and that they're not alone. And this is what I get. Okay. Disgraceful. Shame on you, USPS. North Aldridge office. 400 Northwest 7th Avenue. Shame on you. So I made another complaint to the 800 number right away. Next, I attended a local food pantry, set aside what I needed to survive, and packaged up, boxed the rest for a family of an incarcerated brother. I was not able to make contact with them. I reached out again and again and again and again. This is something I'll keep doing, to get food to the families of those who are inside. I am working on setting up visitations, researching and downloading and installing appropriate phone apps, finding respective web pages and home pages online so I have access to more information and instructions and functionality and hopefully options, making direct calls to families of incarcerated associates, verbalize faith-based perspectives, offer support and contact as applicable. I'm speaking with a lawyer about low-cost, no-cost services for arranging power of attorney documents. Okay, my life, what I went through. When I was inside, I had a million of my own ideas on how to get myself out. This is a direct copy. And save myself, but could not get anything done on my own. The system of incarceration that I experienced was designed so that an inmate cannot help themselves in any manner. As such, I highly recommend getting a power of attorney to manage critical legal matters during any period of incarceration. If your family, friends, if either you cannot reach anybody or the people who you can reach cannot or will not help you, there's a lot of that inside. It's strange, okay? The reality, once you get put in that box and they remove all your resources and take away all your freedom and all your privileges, now you are hopelessly dependent on people on the outside, and you will find that they get bored with you and they don't want to be bothered with you, and you become an imposition. The people who you desperately rely on, who you thought you were closest to on the planet Earth, now don't want anything else to do with you. Cruel, heartbreaking, heart-crushing. A power of attorney can help you get things done, shut off utilities, address other owed bills, car payments, bank account issues and payments, rental and storage obligations. Next, I reached out to an old friend who was very active in the cycling community and an activist for their legal rights to inquire about shops that might sponsor free technical checks and simple parts replacement downtown Fort Lauderdale, where we conduct street church on Sundays after the service. A fair amount of the homeless down there, their life is off of a bicycle. She gave me some options, two references. I will follow up and follow through. I spoke to a psychologist with experience in prison psych about providing volunteer mental health services on Sundays downtown. Her response was unexpected, disingenuous, disinterested, and yet another reason why sometimes so much time and effort and energy gets consumed by just trying to arrange otherwise simple and critically needed things. But it changes nothing, and I'll just find someone else and ask them, pausing